Hi everyone, it's Christy Taylor. Today we're going to create a gorgeous peekaboo goddess tumbler like this. Just look at how pretty that is. Oh my goodness, I just love it. But let's get started. We started out with a tumbler. This is a 30-ounce skinny from Hog that was glittered with two colors of glitter. I'll link those down below. Epoxied, sanded, and then epoxied again until it was smooth. Once it's smooth, that's whenever you can start this process. So I've already weeded most of my design. This goddess design you can find in my Etsy shop. I'll link that in the description box below if you guys would like to get some of that and make a tumbler like this. That would be awesome. So I've weeded it and I've placed my transfer tape, and now I'm peeling the backing paper off, and we're going to start putting our design onto the tumbler. Now remember, before you start doing a peekaboo, you want to make sure that your tumbler is very smooth, because every little lump and bump and scratch will show with this technique. I'm just trimming my transfer tape so that I'm able to bend the goddess around the tumbler without any wrinkles. So I just add some little, I just trim it there in a couple of spots. And I'm placing it on there, making sure it's nice and straight. I place it at the top and the bottom, and then I smooth it in the middle, right there, and then work my way out to both sides. You want to get as few wrinkles as possible because the paint can seep up under those wrinkles, and then that's kind of hard to clean up later. So I'm just making sure I burnish that on there very well, and then I'm peeling my transfer tape back. It would actually be pretty just like this, but it's going to look gorgeous in the end. This is a fun file to play with. You can do lots of great things with this. And in my Etsy shop, it's available in several different forms. Some of them are color, so you could print them and just hang them on your wall if you'd like, or use them on t-shirts. I'm still working on peeling off the transfer tape. If I see a spot that didn't stick well, I just use my thumb and press that back down before I peel back. I'm going to use my scissors to keep my tumbler from rolling. Yeah, I have a tumbler holder somewhere, but I can never find it. So now there's some daisies in the middle of this design, and I find it easier to remove those after you get it on the tumbler. This is a lint roller. It's super sticky, so I just use that to capture all my little pieces. I saw someone on YouTube doing this, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's such a great idea. So now I do it. Whoever you were, thank you. I have no idea who it was, or I would totally give credit. So I'm just peeling out or picking out those little daisies that are in the body of the goddess. And then once we get those picked out, we'll add the rest of our decals. Just going to speed this little part up here so you don't have to sit and watch all those little pieces come out. Well, I mean, you're still going to see them, but it'll be a lot faster. So now we're just going to place the rest of our decals, and it's just the same process. Load it on the transfer tape, burnish it down real good, and place it on the tumbler, burnish it down again, and remove the transfer tape. You just want to make sure all those pieces are stuck down very, very well before you start painting. So now we're using our Pantheon paint. This is a new paint that we've recently released. is acrylic-based chalk paint. It has a special clay added that aids in adhesion. So you can actually paint it directly on your stainless steel tumbler. And you can paint over epoxy like we're doing here. I recommend that you use a soft bristled brush. This will decrease the amount of brush strokes that you see. Go ahead and spend a little extra money and get a good brush so your bristles don't keep coming off in your paint like mine were. It doesn't really take much of this paint to get full coverage. We're going to be doing some dry brushing over top of this, so I'm not too worried about brush strokes on this one, but that is something to be aware of on some other designs where you don't want the brush strokes to show. This is a great paint to use in place of spray paint. So if you live in a cold climate where you don't want to go outside spray paint all the time, this is a good way to avoid doing that. I'm just using my heat tool here to dry that layer. I'm going to add one more layer over top. Our paints come in several sizes. They come 1 ounce, 2 ounce, and 4 ounce. And then we also recently added an 8 ounce size. You can buy them individually or in sets, and you can find them on our website at christytaylorcreations.com. I'll put a link to that in the description box below where you can go get some of these awesome paints. These paints work great in art journals, on canvases. You can use them on furniture. I mean, wood projects, so many things. So now I'm going to go in with a chip brush. A chip brush is just a cheap brush that has real stiff bristles. I'm getting just a little bit of paint on my brush and then dabbing most of it off onto my rag there, and then I'm using a dry brushing technique to apply it over the white base layer. I wanted this to have a rustic country type of feel. I don't really know what the proper terms would be for that, but that's why I'm going with the dry brush look, and it's one of my favorite looks. I just love the way that it looks weathered. So we're going to speed things up a little bit here. We're just going to dry brush with several different colors, and we're just going to go around the whole tumbler. Make sure to get the bottom. Don't forget the bottom. And then I dry a layer with my heat tool, and then I go in with another color and just keep repeating the process until I'm happy with the look. I get a little paint on my brush, dab most of it off onto my rag, and then dry brush that color directly on the tumbler. This turned out really, really pretty. I love the way the red and the green there gave us sort of a purple look. I didn't plan on that, but I like the way it looks. So here I'm just giving it a once over, looking at it really good and seeing how much further or how many more colors I want to add. I decided it needed some yellow. So without cleaning my brush, I've just dipped it into the yellow paint there. And I'm just dry brushing it on to some of the spots. I'm just dry brushing over certain spots with the yellow. I'm just going to keep going until I'm happy with the way it looks. This was recorded during a live broadcast, so you see me pause and talk there for a minute. That's because I was answering questions. We have several Facebook groups that we go live in. I'll include the link to those in the description box below. Maybe you could check out some of our lives and see them in person. I love interacting with people. I love teaching people, showing people that they can use these products to create unique tumblers. Tumblers that stand out from the rest because they're not the cookie cutter tumblers that everybody makes. Now, there's nothing wrong with cookie cutter tumblers, but it's good to have some things in your shop that are different than what other people have. That helps your shop stand out and draws more customers to you. Now, this technique does take a little bit of time, but it is worth it in the end because it is just a beautiful, beautiful look. You see me lay those two jars on their sides there. That's because somebody was asking what size the jars or what the different sizes look like so they could decide which size they wanted to order. So now I've decided that I'm done adding paint and it's time to peel up and reveal the glitter from underneath. This did take me quite a bit of time to peel all these stickers up. But we are going to fast forward it so you don't have to watch all those come up in real time. So you can see that just peeling up that one little daisy took a little bit of time. But it's worth it in the end, I promise. It turns out great. So I'm just peeling up all those decals that I put on and sticking the pieces on my lint roller there. The other cool thing about this paint is if you happen to scratch it a little bit with your picking tool, you can just go back in and dab that spot and fix it right up. I love the way the shiny glitter just peeks out from behind the dry brush paint. That really looks great. And you can make this design all your own with your own color choices in paint, your own color choices in glitter. It could look totally different every time. I always tend to save the goddess for last just because I think that she's the prettiest part. So I saved that for last, so it's the big wow at the end. Once we get epoxy on this tumbler, it's really going to come to life. It's already pretty, but the epoxy just makes it shine. The epoxy that I use is Amazing Clear Cast by Alumilite. They have offered us a discount code of Christy10 for 10% off your first purchase. And I have an affiliate link below if you choose to purchase through my link. It does pay me a small commission at no extra cost to you. And don't forget the bottom. I like to put stickers or carry my design onto the bottom of my tumblers. I just think it looks nice. So here I'm just going through and making sure I've got all those little pieces weeded. Make sure I didn't skip any daisies. Just turning it over and looking. I missed one daisy. I see it up there on the camera. Don't worry, I'll get it in a minute. So I've mixed up equal parts of part A and part B of Alumilite's Amazing Clear Cast. I've stirred it for at least 2 minutes, allowed it to sit for a minute or two to degas, and now I'm dipping my fingers into the epoxy and spreading it onto the tumbler. Normally I would have had the cups lined up differently so that it would be less awkward, but since this was on a live, it was sitting on my desk in front of me so that I could be on camera. But I just spread it onto the tumbler, making sure that every part of the tumbler is covered. And that other cup that you see there will be another video that'll be on our YouTube channel. Speaking of the YouTube channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and hit the notification bell so that you will know whenever I come out with any new videos. You can find the Goddess file in our Etsy shop. I'll link that down below. You can get the paints on our website. I'll link that down below as well. Etsy is Tailored Tumblers, and our website is ChristyTaylorCreations.com. We have alcohol inks, we have watercolor inks, and now we have Pantheon paint. We also have some other crafting supplies as well, like a resin, 3D resin pieces, and you can get prints of some of my artwork. Once I get the resin on, I'm going to hit both tumblers with a torch to pop any bubbles and smooth out our resin. This will turn for at least 6 hours before I'll remove it and stand it up to continue drying. It'll have to cure for at least 12 hours and then sit for a few days before we take our first sip. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'll link the website, the Etsy shop, and the Facebook groups in the description box below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Thank you so much. Bye.